So I mean, I think there's a lot of positive things going on downtown that'll benefit everybody, but I think the real premise of the question is who's going to lose out with downtown development. I mean, obviously everybody that needs a place to live should have a place to live. This question comes up a lot. I happen to be of the mindset that we don't do enough to encourage people to own homes, and we do probably a disservice to some folks who could own homes by simply saying it's good enough that you rent a piece of property. So I personally think we should be encouraging people to buy properties. I think we should be encouraging people to buy properties outside of the downtown area where there are real neighborhoods. And I think people that own homes in neighborhoods, stabilized neighborhoods, all you have to do is go to the housing court on a Thursday morning and see families being evicted from the homes. And you can know and tell the trauma that really happens to the children who get displaced. There's a program in Albany, New York that gives vouchers to people who are in Section 8 housing, not for rent, but for mortgages. And they've determined over time, not only is it cheaper for the state, because the mortgage is only a 20, 30-year period as opposed to rent could go on indefinitely, but it also stabilizes the family, children do better in school, there's less crime in the neighborhoods, and the next generation generally winds up buying a home. Those types of programs, I think, are worth looking at. Obviously, not everybody can afford to do that. Not everybody wants to do that. But it used to be the American dream to own your own home, and I don't know why it still shouldn't be. And I think if we encourage more of that away from downtown, in our neighborhoods, we'll have much better neighborhoods, much happier residents, and a much better city. Thank you.
You know, I'm very proud to say that I filed a motion on the floor when we were talking about redevelopment downtown, requesting that the manager come up with a master plan that also includes the neighborhoods. And this specific motion was in regards to the Main South area. So extremely important that we are comprehensive in what we do. Also, as part of that motion, it was a request to make sure that everybody has a seat at the table downtown. A lot of urban development going on. We have a lot of ethnic stores and minority-owned businesses. And there's ways to try to keep those folks there in the midst of potential gentrification. So I certainly support that. You know, what we need is inclusive urban design. You know, we need everyone at the table when it comes to planning. We need folks from all walks of life, all socioeconomic statuses, every part that needs to be represented. Also, you know, when you talk about workforce housing or affordable housing, we have to remember that times are hard, and currently the minimum wage is $11 an hour. I support increasing the minimum wage to $15 an hour incrementally by the year 2021. Because when you talk about renting versus mortgage, what's the point in having a mortgage if you can't afford it? We've been down that road before. And certainly with regards to renting an apartment, it costs close to $22 to an hour to afford a 2-bedroom apartment. And we certainly need to be conscious of that. Again, everyone needs to have a seat at the table, and I think that, you know, we need to continue to talk about that on the council floor. And that's how you move things forward and keep it in the conscience of not only us as elected officials, but the community at large as well.
I think support the projects that have been downtown. I support the projects in the neighborhood. You look at the downtown projects, I support those. It's made a difference because because a lot of those projects are mixed housing projects. They're not just high-end apartments. I know City Square, those apartments there are not mixed housing, but the ones on the Vogue Loft, the courthouse, is going to be mixed housing. There's other mixed housing projects down there. I think it's important to develop downtown, but you have my commitment that the funding in these neighborhoods is very important. You look what we've done, you transform neighborhoods. You go down with the money we've invested in over by the Boys and Girls Club, the Hammond Street Project, and what we've done is the Main South CDC did a great job transforming a neighborhood. It's a whole brand new neighborhood. Millions of dollars went into that project, and I'm proud of that project. Drive down Bellevue Street off of Pleasant Street. Maybe that whole street's being transformed right now because of the projects. And other people, once you see that, they invest in those projects. So I think it's important that the CDCs, all the CDCs, I know there's been a little history in the past, but these are all good, qualified corporations that can do the job, which still continue to fund those. Because you change neighborhoods, and give people a chance. And affordable housing could mean anybody these days. You have a single mom of 3 or 4, you have who's a firefighter or a police officer who could qualify to that. And it's important that we have people that live in these neighborhoods that feel welcome in these neighborhoods. So I do support that the federal funding will be commitment to the neighborhoods again. Thank you.
So this is something that I think is very important for the development of our city, is to spread that development that's going on in the downtown area out into the neighborhoods, especially those like Main South and other neighborhoods surrounding that downtown area. If you want a strong downtown, you have to have strong neighborhoods around it. That's one of the reasons that I'm calling for tax incentives, short-term tax incentives for those neighborhoods that we deem need more development, because a lot of neighborhoods haven't seen the development that we see on the west side and we see in downtown. And these tax incentives could be used to incentivize people to build on vacant lots, to build in the buildings that have been vacant for years, and to improve those properties so that they can become housing. And depending on how we worked it, we can make sure that some percentage of that is to affordable housing. The other thing that I'm calling for is to increase our percentage of affordable housing in the city from 14 to 16% up to 20% within the next 10 years. We need more affordable housing. We've seen plenty of cities who don't have workforce housing, don't have places for people to live, and along with Mr. King, I do support the $15 minimum wage, because that's something else that will make neighborhoods stronger. If people can afford to live in neighborhoods and work on their houses, and maybe allow some people to afford houses. But that's going to be something that's not in reach for everybody, so we need to make sure that we have the affordable housing available for people. Thank you.
I think that there has to be a balance that we have to reach. And so maybe the pendulum may feel like it's swung too far toward downtown, but there really needs to be a balance. And I think that you're seeing some incredible offshoots of development and success because of what is happening in downtown. And some of that's happening because of what happened out in the neighborhoods. And as the mayor just talked about, the great work that was done in the southwestern neighborhood. So I think that there's always going to be a balance, but we need to be creative, and we need to understand that workforce housing is what people call affordable housing. We've got people who are trying to pay for their masters and as teachers that can't afford to even rent an apartment and pay for a car and do all of those things. They're trying to start a family as well. So there's lots of different projects and programs out there that can help people. And I think that there's one, we've got a lot of three-deckers in our community. They're not all being rented out. We have folks that are just anxious, they're older, that can't take care of their property. I think we should be creative in working on some sort of a program where people could lease to own, rent to own those properties. I know that they're doing a similar program in Cleveland Housing Network, a lease to purchase program that gives renters the ability to purchase homes at a discount after 15 years. And so I think that we need to be creative in how we utilize some of the housing stock that we have, as well as providing opportunities for people to be able to rent to own in the future. So I think there's the balance that needs to happen.
Great cities have great downtowns. I remember downtown Worcester before the Galleria, before Worcester Center. I know I'm showing my age, but I used to get on the bus. And I used to have to stand up on the bus because the buses were so busy in those days when I was a young child, youth, young teenager, going downtown with my mother all the time. I'd stand up because the bus was packed and you had to stand up, let a senior citizen or someone else sit down. So Worcester was different, downtown was different. But it was always everyone's downtown, and that's the way it should be. So the attention we're paying to downtown is what we should be doing. It's not at the expense of neighborhoods. We can work with both, we can work on both. We can have projects in both. But we do have to work on our downtown. We need retail. Very little left. We've seen two businesses that have been there for a long time recently go out. We need to bring retail downtown. So please, you can't start saying that because I care about neighborhoods, I don't care about downtown Worcester. That's not the right attitude. We have to care about all neighborhoods. Downtown Worcester is going to be opening in the next couple of years 1,000 apartments. It's a neighborhood. It's becoming a neighborhood. It needs retail, it needs a supermarket, it needs a movie theater, and so on. So I love downtown Worcester already, but I can imagine what it's going to be like in a few years, even better. As we go to the neighborhoods, I'll talk briefly about beautiful District 5. So much is happening in this district, and I'm proud of that. The airport, Cat 3 landing system. Forget the fog, forget the bad weather. Those planes will be landing. Soon we'll be going to New York City and Baltimore next year, okay? Right behind the Youth Center, we have a new dog park, the second one, second fenced-in area, second official dog park. Okay, we have an emergency communications center with Leicester, partnered with Leicester, up near the airport, state-of-the-art. Doherty High, we're gonna build a new Doherty High. Even before that, we're working on building a new South High School. So I think our neighborhoods are, and I'm just talking about District 5, the other district councils, if they were here, they could talk about their district. I'll only do a minute and a half next time. I'm gonna sacrifice the half a minute. But I'm just saying that the neighborhoods are going well, they're strong, but don't forget about downtown.